What's up, guys? So in this video we're going to be building out this product listing page challenge from Frontendmentor using React, TypeScript, and Tailwind CSS. Before we take a look to see how it works, you can go to frontendmentor.io to download the challenge in order to follow along. I'll also leave a link to this in the description. So basically, we can add products, and as you observe, the state changes to the quantity. Then we can increase the quantity, and this is the base price, which is this, while this is the amount based on the quantity. So you can increase it, you can add multiple ones, and you can remove as well. And if I refresh, you notice that it's still persisted, and we are going to still take it a step further by implementing payment with Stripe. So if I click on confirm order now, we get redirected to this Stripe checkout, see the products that we want to buy, and if I click on pay, this is just what's a test payment. And you can see that our order has been confirmed, and we get this nice pop-up modal. You can see a summary of the products we bought, but we are not actually using a database to bring this all out. It's just from the cart that we are pushing this right here. So if I head over to my Stripe dashboard, you can see the payment that was made at the time right now. All right, cool. I can also start a new order which will empty the cart and take me back to the home page. The link to this entire project will be in the description. Alright, let's dive right into the video. Alright, so we have VS Code open, and the first thing we're going to do is to create a new project using Vite. So if you don't know what Vite is, it's essentially a build tool used for creating React applications, and you can also use it for other frameworks as well. So you can do that by saying npm create Vite at latest, then you specify the folder you want that project to be. In our case, we need it in this default folder, so we use a period. Then it will tell us to select the framework. We need React, and we use TypeScript. And now we just have to run npm install to install all the dependencies. So this normally takes some time, so I will be right back when this is done. Alright, so all the packages has been installed, so let's just say CLS to clear out. So the next thing we'll be doing is to install Tailwind and Tailwind prettier. So I will just go back to this page and go to framework guides, select Vite. Already done this part, so run this command right here. So just copy this as well. Alright, we'll clear it out and bring in the Tailwind config file. Okay, so let's see this. Okay, so I will leave this for now, and I'll copy this one, then I'll open my source folder, and I will get rid of everything and paste it right here. Alright, so let me just come to Vite config file and say server, and we change the port to 3000. So by default it uses 5173, but we'll just switch this to 3000. You can decide to leave it at default one if you choose to, Also need this app.css, and let's just get rid of everything. CRAFCE. So that didn't work, or it took some time. Okay. So basically, RAFC just spits out a little boilerplate for a React component, and you can get that from ES. I think it's ES7 snippets. Yeah, this one right here. Okay, we'll save this, and is there any other thing? Okay, good to go. Now we can do npm run dev. Okay, so I can go back right here and just open it at port 3000. All right, so the tailwind is kicking in. Right now this is quite empty, but I'm going to bring up all the styles we'll use. But before then, we'll stop our server again. So say CLS. Now we want to install Tailwind prettier. So I'll copy this. And if you don't know what this does, it basically sorts out class names, making it more easier to navigate through. All right, we have to still do one more thing. Yeah, so create this file at our root, paste it right here, then copy this, paste it right here, save. And I believe after this you do have to close your VS Code and reopen it again. I will just test it out to see if it's working fine. So say px of 4, py of 8. Let me try the other the reverse part. So px of 4 right here. Okay, so it's working fine. So I'm going to paste in the Tailwind config we'll be using and just quickly run through it. All right, so basically I just brought in the colors. So if you downloaded the file from Frontendmentor, they normally give you a style guide where you get the colors. They don't do the font, so this one was just from my own part, as well as this. Okay, they do give you some font weights to use as well, and they give you the actual fonts. So this is Red Hat text. We'll be bringing this in a bit, but essentially I'm just defining my own custom styles right here. So we're done with this file. So the next thing to do is to install Photon. So I'll go to the index HTML, and I will do this right here. And I'll call this product listing page. Sorry guys about the sound of the chicken. I have a little poultry at my backyard. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is to bring in the fonts we'll be using. Like I said, it's Red Hat, so I already have it right here. So I'll go to get embedding fonts and just copy this, close this out, and paste it right here. So automatically this should change to that. So let me check this out. Okay, so I have to restart the server again. So say npm run dev. Okay, so I guess the font is kicking in. Okay, yeah, it's coming in. All right, so I'm not going to close this out. I will just create a new one. So what we want to do now is to install React Router DOM because of the checkout page we'll be bringing in. So cnpm I React Router DOM, I believe. Okay, CLS. All right. So what we have to do now, since we have React Router, I can come to the source directory and create a layout folder, and inside that layout folder, we're going to create a root layout. So say root layout dot csx. All right, cool. So let me just drop this right here. So we'll come back to this, but I'll have to go back to my app.tss, and I'll go below the component and say const router, say create browser router, and inside we say create routes. I believe it's create routes from elements. Why you do this autocomplete? Okay. Then we'll bring in each route, and then we created a root layout. So we want this root layout to be like the parent wrapping the other routes we'll be creating. So for now, we'll say the path should be the base path, then element in our case will be the root layout. All right, then I guess there should be an equal to right here. Okay, cool. So now we need to pass this router to our router provider. So I can just get rid of this and leave it as a code fragment. Now say route provider, and just passing the router. All right, cool. So if we check, this doesn't change anything yet because we're still seeing this root layout. Then we'll go back to this root layout, and what we want to do right now is to make this to be a code fragment as well, and we'll pass in the outlet. So if you're coming from Next.js, this outlet is more like the children, and if you're coming from Astro, this is more like a slot where all the other content should be. Then you can decide to have like a header right here, but in our case we'll have a home that we've not created, so create that right now. So it should be home.csx. Then we can now import this home. So this is going to be at the top no matter what page we are on, but this outlet is more like a placeholder that is dynamic based on the page you are still on. I hope that makes sense. So if we check back now, you see that this home will be here. If we create another route, this home will still be here. All right, cool. So next thing we want to do is to bring in the data file. So if I go to Figma, I already brought in the designs. You see it inside the folder called designs. So you see that there are some products, and So you see we have about, I think it's about 9 products or more that is being given to us. So I don't have the files right here, but inside the file you'll see, let's go back to this. So for a particular product, you're going to see the image for desktop, for mobile, for tablet, and you're also going to see the thumbnail one. So let me zoom in. So this one as well. But in our case, what I'll be doing is that I will just bring in the data dot I will just bring in the data file, and I'll walk you through how I structured mine. Alright, so I've copied it and I'll just create that right here, say data.ts, and I'll paste it. So this is actually different from what is being given by Frontendmentor. So I just I got rid of all the images and used the mobile image and basically stored it in cloud in array, so that we want to make payments with Stripe, we don't get an error. We don't run into an error because Stripes only use image via a link. So this squiggly line you're saying is from my own end, basically saying that this one doesn't exist. So I'll just get rid of it. So we just have an ID, a name, the category, the price, and the image. And let me just change this to products. I feel this makes more sense. Alright, cool. Again, the link to this is in the description. And one more thing, I think this should be the last thing I will be bringing in, is the assets we'll be needing, because currently this is empty. So I'll just bring them in and I'll be with you shortly. Alright, basically it's just the this little assets you're saying. So this one as well. Okay, I believe that's all. Then this as well as this. But you can decide to ignore this and just use a font from Fort Awesome. I believe we'll still make reference to it since we are important bringing it right here. So we might not use everything that's here. Alright, cool. So the next thing we want to do now is to create a home page. And I don't know if I mentioned it in the intro of this video, this is responsive. So we have for the mobile and desktop. For the mobile, everything is just stacked in rows, as you can see. Then on desktop, they are just stacked in columns. Alright, so I'll get rid of this and I can just change this to a section. It should be section as well. Then inside it, I'll create a div, and inside that div I will create another one and also create another one, just nested divs inside of div, and we'll bring in the text that says desserts. Let me just save it. Okay, then let me add some spacing right here. Alright, cool. Then inside this div right here, create another one, and this one is basically going to display all these items right here. So the first one is for this, while this div right here is for all these products. So let me get my pencil. So essentially what we want to do is to create this part right here, and also put another div to store this. Then right here we'll also create a separate component to hold each of these products. So basically that's the idea of what we'll be doing. So let me get rid of this. So for now I will just put something and call it products. It should be in a p tag. So we're going to change this in a bit, but I just want to lay it out right here. All right, cool. Remember I said all these are in a div. Then outside of this, make sure you're outside of this. We'll come here and create the cart list. So let's call this cart list. No matter still, let's just create it. Say cart list and come to the source folder, create the components folder, call this one cart. Sorry about that. It should be CartList.tsx. Get rid of this. And we can import this one right here. Then let me just do it right here. So I'll call this the product listing. So I'm also going to create it right here. Say product listing CSX. Import it also right here, so I can save, and if I preview it, they're coming in nice. All right, so moving on, I think I will be adding the Tailwind classes as I go. You can let me know in the comments which approach you like. Do you like me laying out the structure then styling it, or I should style it as I'm bringing in the actual HTML code? But just to make this video shorter, I will just add the Tailwind classes as I go. Okay, so for this, the class name is going to be MB of 8, add the PT, padding top of 8, for large screens, add the margin bottom of 0. Then remember I said we have two columns, this one and this one. So right here, give it a class of container so that it doesn't get expanded in the screen. So on large screens, add display of grid. On large screen should be grid calls, and this time we'll add our arbitrary number. So this will be 2.5 fr underscore 1 fr. Then on large screens again, we'll add a gap of 4. Then for this div right here, we'll add a margin bottom of 6. For the h1, add a text of 500, then a font of 700. While for this div right here, we'll add the class of medium screens, display grid, medium screens again, should be grid calls of 2, then add a gap of 4, and the large screens should be grid calls, set this to 3. Then this product listing, we are going to basically loop it. So we'll bring in our product. So say product and map through products, and we just pass this right here. Then the key should be the product ID. Then we just pass the entire product to the product listing page. Ignore this error. We'll define the types right here in a bit. All right, so let's see. Okay, I think it's looking more like this. So 3 columns right here, 3 columns right here, and it's also responsive for mobile. Let me just push this down. All right, cool. So what we want to do now is to bring in the products right here. So we'll go to the product listing component. First thing we're going to do is to say interface. I'll call this product listing props, and we'll pass in the product, and this should be coming from a type. And right now let's just create the type right now. So the source directory, I'll create a new folder called libs. I'll create a type.ts file, and we'll have to define the type. So our case, this will be export interface, and so the product item, and the ID is a number, the name is a string, the category be a string. What else do we have? Let's go to the products, to the data rather. So price and image. So price also be a string, and image be a string as well. All right, so we can go back to our product listing page and just pass in the product item. I think this should be item, not items. So item, get rid of this one. All right, so we can come over here and destructure it and say product. Okay. Am I getting an error? So let me do this by myself. So I'll say product, and right here I will say it should be the product listing props. All right, cool. Then I'll also destructure it further by just pulling out some data we need from this product. So we need the ID, we need the name, we need the category, the price, as well as the image. All right, so close this one out. So if I head back to the design file, this is what we want to create right here, this image and this button right here with the text. So this, we have a class of this is going to be an arbitrary number as well, arbitrary value rather. So this will be %, not last child, MB of 8. So basically we're targeting all these cards, all these products, except from the last one. So we're just adding margin bottom of 8. which is Tailwind. So inside it, we also have a div with a class of relative and MB of 4. And inside that, we'll have the image, and the source should be the image right here. Then the auth should be, let's just say it should be the name. Then the class name is just rounded MD. So let's see. All right, cool. So we just need to add let's just add this text before this other content before we bring in this button. I think that makes more sense. So outside this, I will come here and create another div, and I give this a class name, and see on large screens margin top should be 8. Then this would be the category. Also have an h3 to put the name, and another p tag, or this can still be a span. I'll just leave it as p tag for the price. So for this first one, give this a color of the rows 500. For the history, give it a text 200, font 700, and the color should be 900. Then for the price, give this a font of 500 and a text of primary red. Then I can just add this $sign. Then I can go back, and this is okay. I have everything right here. As you can see, we're not getting the complete value. So one way to go around it, I don't know what happened in area. Should be product. Type number is not attainable to type string. For price. Okay, so I guess, okay, this is price. So if we go to types, okay, this should be number. All right. Okay, so the best approach to take is to get rid of this $sign. Then we'll say to local string, and inside it we'll say this should be US. Then we'll create an object right here and just say the star should be what currency, and the currency should be USD. So for Nigeria, if I need Naira, I can just come here and change this to NG, and this as NG again. By default, it should default to my own currency, just that this is not the code. I think it's NGN. Yeah, it's NGN for my currency, but we need USD, so I'll say USD. This should be US. All right, so we have the entire value right here. Cool. So now I want to add this button, and as you can see, we have 2 of them. So add to cart and another button that increases the product quantity and reduces it. And later on, we'll be using the context API to check if this has been clicked and just change the state. But for now, I will just create both of them and hide this one. So make sure I'm inside this div, and I will create a button. It should take an image and the text be a span, and just call this one auto cart. So the image is from, can get it from our assets. So I'll call this cart icon. So cart icon from assets. So say cart icon add to cart, and this should be the cart icon. This should be, what am I doing? Just say add to cart right here. Save. So if we preview it right now, see it's right here. So let's style it up. So for the button, it's going to have a class name of border text, and the color should be this rose 500. Also going to give this a group because we want to hover on this button and we need something else to change, or there should be a transition for another element when we hover on the parent element. We're also going to set this to absolute. The bottom is going to be -1 rem. Left is going to be half, which is 50%. Also going to display it flex. Translate should be negative. It should be half as well to center it based on its parent container. And items will be center. Add a gap of 2. Rounded will be full. Also add the border, and the background will have this rose 50. Then we'll add a px of 4 to the left and right, ipy of 2. Also going to add transition, set this to colors, duration with 300. Then when we hover on it, the border primary should show. On last screens, we set the width to 150 pixels. So we'll say 150 pixels. So I know this is a very long class name, so bear with me on this one. All right. For the span itself, we set this to have font of 500. The text color should be rose 900. Transition should be colors as well. Then the duration for 300, I think it's 3 milliseconds. Yeah, 300 milliseconds. Then now we have access to the group. I'll set the hover to the primary color, so say primary red. So when we hover on this button, this span changes to the red color. Let's save and check it out. So it's right here. When you hover on it, see how the color changes right here. All right, cool. So let's add this other button right now. So we just do it underneath this one. And for this, we're also going to create a div, and the class name be absolute bottom will be -1 rem, and add a left of 50%. The width as well should be 50%. Then add a display of flex, item center should be center, justify is going to be between for the minus and plus, and the gap will be 2. Also going to add rounded or full. The background color is going to be the primary color, and add the padding to the left and right for top and bottom of 2. Text will be white. Then on large screen, the width should be 170 pixels. Then we also need to center it very well on the page, or on we need to center it as this as well. So we just say this should be this, and let me just hide this one. Oh, okay, I think we have 2 contradicting classes, so I'll just use this for now. Okay, so it's right here, but we've not added the content. That's why it's like that. So inside this, create the first button. I'll call this or let's just add the icon. So this will be FA solid, FA minus, and let's just add the font size of 0.9 rem, and the line height will be 20 pixels. Then for the button itself, we'll add a class of flex, item center, justify content should be center, add a size of 20 pixels as well. So the width and the height will be 20 pixels. Then we also need the border, so say border, and the border color, was there a border color? Okay, there was no border color, so we'll add a transition of colors, duration 300, and when we hover on it, the background color should be white, and the text color should be the primary color. Then I can just copy this one right here, and in the middle I will just pass in the quantity. So for now we just set it to 0. So since we have this, and we're going to, this will be dynamic, I'll just go to my types and add the quantity right here. So say quantity, and this will be a number. Might make it optional, who knows. So we have another error again, says what? Okay, so guess what we have to do is to make it optional. All right, then I can just save this, and further I'll change this to plus. So let's check right now. Okay, so it's not rounded fully. And why is that? So I believe we also need to add a rounded full year. I'll just copy this one, paste it here. So if I save now, all right, then this is not centered well. Still don't know why is that. Thinking is from this. So what we do is to get rid of this one and change it back to flex. Then I will comment this out. Still the same. I guess it's the bottom value. Okay. All right. So it should work now. Okay, cool. So for now, I will comment out this one and bring in this one. All right, cool. So we're very much done with this part. So what we need to do for this, we'll enable it when this is active. So this is what we'll do when we start adding products to our cart. So we want to create this cart list right here, and we have to state the empty one and when the cart is filled as well. Okay, so for the cart list, what we want to do is to still bring in the product and check if the product is actually empty. So if the product is empty, we want to display something, while if it's not empty, we want to still display another thing. And in our case, we want to just show this once it's empty and this once is not empty. So before, okay, let me just create them out, then we check if it's empty or not. So we'll open this and just inside this div right here, we'll give this a class of empty 12 rounded LG. The border radius for the background color should be white, and add padding of 4 all around. Then on large screens, the height should be fit. Okay, inside this, we're also going to have an H4 that says your cart is a certain number, which will be dynamic, but for now we just put it as 0. Then the class name, class rather, should be MB of 6, font of 400, font weight of 700. Then the color should be the primary color. So okay, then underneath it we'll just map over the product to display the product if it's been added. So if it's not empty, we just show those products right here. So we just say product map, and there should be product. We have a div. Inside that div, we're going to have a other component called CartItem to manage each of these items right here. You can decide to just show everything right here. It's based on your preference though, just to make the code kind of structure and neat. That's why I'm doing this. So I'll just add this right here and say CartItem.txx and port it right here. All right. So what I'll do is to give this class name should be border, and the border bottom should have the rows 300. This should be border bottom, not border all around. I'm also going to add padding top and bottom of 4, and the first of type, which is the first child, should have a padding top of 0. Then remember, since we have this product right here, we also need to pass in the key. So the key will be product.id, and we just pass the product like we did with the product listing. Right, cool. So this is showing when there's actually a product. Currently all the products are being listed here, so what you're seeing here is what is being showed right here. Cool. What I want to do now is to add this right here. So should we do it under this? So say outside of this one, create another div, and inside that you will have the image, which we've not created yet, we've not imported yet rather. So we'll call this one empty cart image from assets, say empty cart, and this will be empty cart image, say no carts. Oh, let's say empty cart. Then we're also going to add a class and give this mx of auto to center it based on this, and underneath it we'll add ptext that says your added items will appear here, and this will also have a class of margin top of 6, center the text, font weight of 500, and the color should be the rows 500. You can save. I believe now we should see both of them. All right, cool. So right now I want to render based on what it's on showing. So I'll come right here and just say cost, and let's just call this cart not empty, and say just grab the products, the length, and say if the length is not equals to 0. So basically if the length is not, if the product is not empty. All right, so where should we add this check? Right, so we're going to do it right here. So for this bring this right here and just say if the cart is not empty, then we want something to happen. Then if it's empty, we want to show something. So in our case, copy everything here, paste it right here. Now copy this one as well, paste it right here. So I'll save. So right now we can see just this because we are obviously have products right here. So by the time we use the context API, this is what will be showing. All right, cool. But we're not done. We also need to add this right here. So this one you're saying is for each of the cart item, but we need this to show when a cart is being added. All right. So head back to our code, and underneath all this right here, we'll say the same thing again. So we'll just say if the cart is not empty, so if a product has been added, then we want to do something. So this will have a class of margin top of 8, and also another div right here, and inside that they will have the order total. I'm going to still have the price. So this price will be the total price. So for now, I will just default this to like $50. This will be dynamic later on. So for this, give it a display of flex. Items should be center. Justify should be between. So we need this one at the left and this one at the right, just as it is in the design right here. Then for the span, give this a class and font size of 300, font weight of 700, and text color of rows 900. And our last screens, the text should be 500. All right, cool. Then underneath this, we'll also have to create this part right here that has this image. So I will give this class of margin top of 8, display of flex items, center, justify, center, gap of 2, rounded, which is the border radius, should be large. Then we'll add the background color of this rows 50. And inside it will also add the image, and we need to import the image right here. Call this what is it about? Carbon neutral. Can you just call this carbon image from assets? Yeah, carbon neutral. So say carbon image, call this carbon neutral. All right, then we also need the text as well. I'll say this is a carbon neutral delivery. All right, but in the design, if I zoom in, see that this is quite bold. So what we do is to put this inside span. So do this again, span, paste it in. Then we'll give this a class and say the font weight should be 500. The text should be text color rather should be this rows 900. So if we check right now, I feel it's more better. All right, cool. So we also need to add the what is it called? This payment button that says confirm order. So I will need this, and I should put this in another component because that's where we'll be adding the Stripe functionality. So let me just say pay button, and I will just quickly create it right here. I'll head back and import it right here. Then are we getting an error? Where is that coming from? Okay. So I'll just come right here and it should be an empty fragment. Put the button right here. Or instead, I will bring this back and let me just add first name and say the margin top should be 4. Here should be confirm order and add the style for it. So we say the weight should be 4, rounded should be full as well. Add the background of primary, add the top button should be 4, font weight should be 500, text should be white, transition should be colors, transition, I can spell well. Then the duration will be 300 milliseconds, and when we hover on it, we want the background to change to this rules 900. So if we go back now, see we have this cool looking button right here. All right, so we want to create the actual cart item. So if I go to Figma file now, so essentially this is what we want to create right now. So I can run my VS Code right here and go to the cart item. Above it, I will say interface, call this cart props. Then I will just pass in the product. It should come from the product item. I'll bring it in right here and say product from the cart item props. Cool. So I'll get rid of this one and I'll give this a class flex items in the center, justified between, and inside it have another div. It's going to have an h4 that's going to hold the name, and we'll have another div again right here, and this one is going to hold the quantity. So essentially if we go back now, we need this, we need to put this in one div and this one in another div. Then within this we also need to like put this one right here and add this one on a separate div as well. All right, so now we'll just say this should have a text of P, and this should be the ads. I think should, okay, this came first, so we'll just do this one first, and I'll put this in the span rather. So I'll say this should be product dot quantity, then class will be a font 500, text primary, then for this h4 give it a class of margin bottom of 2, font weight of 500, and this div right here, I will say this should be flex item center, add a gap of 4. Then underneath this we'll create another div. We're going to have a class of flex gap of 2. Inside, that's where we have these two items right here. So the initial base price and the price base that is being increased based on the quantity. So we say at P, then I will just say product the price dot to local string, and this will be US, and I'll make sure the curly bracket and the star should be currency, then the currency now should be USD. All right, cool. Then we get rid of this right here, don't need it. Then I also give this class, I'll say this should be rows 400. So let's see how it looks. Okay, it's not looking nice. I think this should be right here. So let me take a good look. Okay, this is much better. So we don't have any quantity right now, that's why that's showing there. So let me just put default value. I will change later on, so you can see it's coming through. Now we just need to add this other one. So it's still just the same thing. I'll just copy this down, get rid of this art symbol, and I'll just make this more thicker by saying the font should be 500, and just save. Fully, it's coming through. Now you also need to add this closing or this X right here. So I'll come right under this div, create a button, and inside that button I will just pass in the image, and I'll just import that image right here. So say this should be the delete icon from assets, delete, I think it should be remove. All right, so let's pass it right here. Say delete icons, say remove item. I'll also give this a class of size 15 pixels. I'll say let me take a look at what we have so far. Okay, it's not bad. So I guess the next thing to do is just to make it have this right here. So what we'll just do is that we give this a bigger size. This is what I'm thinking. Say this should be 30 pixels. The border should be border. Color should be this, and rows. So say border rows, I think it's 400. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, not bad. Then rounded will be 4. This will be flex. Items will be center. Justify will be center as well. Then the text will also be center. So if I check right now, okay, this is not bad, but I think it's too big. So what I would do, I'll bring this to 20, and I might just bring this to 10. Okay, so this is much better. So far, we have everything not set up, but the issue we are having is that we need this to be empty by default, because we've not added the product yet, and we also want to add the product and track the changes on this CartList component. And a better way for us to achieve that is by using the use context hook. And if you don't know what that is, basically the use context is a React hook that allows components to share data like a global variable without needing to pass it through every single component, which is also known as prop drilling. So typically I would, or ideally, I would want to add a state right here, like something like product, set product. I'm going to delete this in a bit. Then this should be use state, maybe from empty array. So for us to be able to pass that product right here, when we add a product, we'll have to pass this product to this cart list. Then from this cart list, we'll also need to pass it down right here, and that is what we call prop drilling. And this is more like a mini project. So if you are working in a robust e-commerce website, you would have to pass through multiple components to get to that place, and it's not really good because this product might be reused on different pages and different components on your project. So using the use context helps us simplify the process by making the state available globally wherever we want to use it. So in order for us to do that, I will come outside here and create a function called cart context.gsx. All right. So right now I want to create a context to help us manage our cart state. So I will create a variable called cart context, and I will bring in this create context that React gives to us. And my bad, this should be TSS. I was wondering why I was seeing required, so I will import this again. Okay, so this is a function given to us by React. As you can see, it says lets you create a context that components provide or read. So, and this is going ideally, this is going to take an argument. So we can say this should be undefined, and we can also take it a step further by adding a type so that we can easily know the data or functions that are available whenever we use this cart context. So I will just create the type right now. Just call it cart context props. I've not created it yet. And say all can be all defined. Then we head over to our types, and I'll do this right here. I'll say export interface, and I'll call this cart context props. So I will just define all the types we'll need. So we'll need access to the product, which is going to be the product item array. Also need access to the function to add to cart. So I'll call this add to cart, and this is going to take the ID, number, the name, string, category should be string, then the price is going to be number, and image is going to be string. Or better still, in order for us to be able to understand better, instead of me defining all the types we need, I think I will first of all create them, then I'll add this and define it right here. I think that would be more better. So I will just get rid of this one. Okay, cool. So let me just cut this out for now. Now go back to the cart context, and since we already have this cart context, what we need to do now is to create one more function. And before we create the function, we also need to export it first, because right now it's not being exported. So say export default cart content, so that we can reuse it on the different component that we want it to be. All right, so we have to create one more function, and that function is going to be the cart provider. Okay, so I will say this should be function. I'll call this cart provider, and this is going to take the children, and I will just pass this right here. So it doesn't need type. So what we're going to do is to create the types quickly for this. So say interface, let me just do this above right here. So say interface cards provider props, and the children will be a React node. So this React node type allows us to render any type of children component that will be inside this cart provider. So I will come here and say this should be cart provider props. So let's break down what is going on here. In a nutshell, basically this cart provider function is responsible for managing the cart state and providing it to the components that need it. So whatever we define here, we can easily get it from where whatever component we are on, as long as we wrap our entire route provider on top of it. So we'll get to that part in a bit, but that's what is really happening. So before we start creating a different function, I just want to return these children right here. So we say return will say cart context dot provider, and we'll just accept this. So whatever value we pass right here, like I said, it will be accessible on other components. So we don't have any value, that's why we are having undefined right now, which is from this. All right, cool. So the first thing we want to do is to add the state so that we can store the products on our cart. Then I will just call this product, and this should be set products. And for now, this is going to be use state, an empty array with a type of product item. I guess we don't need this. Yeah, we don't need it. So later on we'll change this to store our products on local storage, but for now we'll just leave it as it is. Now that we have this all set up, we want a function to add products or update products if it's already in our cart. So I'll say function to add products. Okay, and this will be cons add to cart. And what are we adding? So let's break this down. So we need the ID, this will be number, also need the name, the price as well, which is a number, and the image should be a string. All right, cool. So we'll first of all check if there's a product in the cart. So we'll say because existing product, then we'll say products.find, then getting an error from here, product is possibly undefined. Oh, I think here should be an array. Yeah, then should this work now? Okay, yeah, so this is how it should be because we have more than one product. Now we can say we can try that again and say product dot find, and we want to find the product that the ID is equals to this ID that we have right here, or in our case that is being added. So we check if that product ID is equals to that ID, to this one right here. So say if is there, which means if there's an existing product, we'll create a new function to update the product, and this time we'll say product the map should be products or rather I think I will use okay, so say if the product ID is equals to that ID, then we want to return some couple of things. So we'll spread over the product and we'll grab the quantity. I'll say the product dot quantity and add 1 to it. So this right here is possibly undefined, but can just add this exclamation mark, because by the time we add a product to the cart, if it exists, this will be obviously defined. So let me save this. Okay, and lastly, we just need to return the product and also set the product to the updated product. So this is what happens when there is already a product in the cart. So if there's no product, we basically want to just push in all this right here. So I'm going to just hit tab and accept this, but I think this doesn't make more sense because we need to still get the previous product. So I'll just say select product and I'll get the previous product. Then I'll spread over our previous product and just passing all the fields we want. So the ID, the name, the image, the quantity, this should be 1. All right, so what am I? Spread argument must either have a tuple type of a pass. Oh, this is an object, so we need it to be a tuple, so this should be in square brackets, not curly brackets. So what are we missing? Okay, price, my bad. So can save. I think we have everything. So are we still getting errors again? Okay, category, we don't need the category. So what I will do is I'll also go to the types and make this category option as well. So right now this error is gone. So with this alone, I just come here and pass in the add to cart function. So we'll get an error that says is not assignable to type undefined. So that's why I said we need to add those types right here. So I'll come back and call this cart contest props. I believe that's it, yeah. So go to the types right here and I'll come here and say add to cart. This should be an ID of number, name, string, the price, the number. Then we added the quantity, right? Okay, no, so we just need the image as well. This will be string. Then this will be void. So I can come here and you can see this can still be undefined as well. So I still have another error that says product is missing in type cart. So we also need to just add the product right here. And now this should be products, not product. So this should be products. Yeah, well, cool. All right, so now we have this add to cart. So how can we use it? Right, let's just say, how can we use it right here? So first of all, we need to make it available globally on our application. So based on this project, I will have to wrap it right here. So I can come here and say this should be cart provider from cart contest and I will just push this one inside. So I can now come to, let's just come to the cart list, and I can say use contest, and I can pass in our cart contest right here. And if I hit Control and spacebar, we're not having anything right here. So we also need to bring in the type. So we say as contest props, cart contest props. So I believe with this now, if I hit Control and space again, see I have access to the functions that I've created right here. So I no longer need this again. So I can just get rid of this. And if I save, by default now, our card should be empty. Cool. All right. And while we are here, instead of just leaving this total price, let's just do the math quickly for this. So I'll come right here and say, I'll create a function. Let's just call this calculate subtotal, and this is going to we're going to set the subtotal to 0 first. Then we'll say for each of the products, so say for each product, what do we want to do? So we're basically multiplying the price with the quantity again. I will add exclamation mark right here to get rid of that error. So we multiply this and add it to the subtotal, which is 0 right now. Then lastly, we just have to return the subtotal. Alright, cool. So we can now, where is it? We can now get rid of this one and pass in the value right here. So we say calculate subtotal. This will be local string, style will be currency. The currency again will be USD. Cool. Alright, so if I check, nothing should happen, but we still can't add our add item to the cart. So what we're going to do right now, I believe we do that, then we just come back and add all the other functions. So I'll go to cart, where's that? I think it's product listing. Okay, yeah, right here. So I'll just come back here and copy this and paste it here and just import all this. So for now, we don't need the products, we need just add to cart. Then I will come right here and just say on click and just take an arrow function that says add to cart, and we'll pass in the parameter. So make sure what you have, let's go back here. So make sure it must be just 4 parameters you added. So if it's not there, you're going to have a TypeScript error. So ID name, price, and the image. Cool. So let's test it out now. So if I add the product to cart, you see that that product is being added. So if I add again, you can see that the price, the total is being added right here, but currently this is still stagnant, and I think we have to just go back to the cart list and look for that. Where are you? think is from here. So first of all, we just still update this one to be the product, the length. So currently we have one. If I add and I increase this, we have two right now. So I want to see updates this right here. So I'll go to the cart item. I think it's this one. So what I will just do, I'll just do it right here and just say create a variable, and I'll call this total price per product. This makes sense. And we'll get the product price times the product quantity. Then we just get rid of this one and say total price per product. And of course, this should be total price per product. All right. So now this is being updated. So if I add on that one, you see this is getting updated and this doesn't change. And the quantity as well. Okay, the quantity is not being updated. So while we are there, let's just keep adding all the things we want. So this will be product dot quantity. All right, and there should be an X right here as well. Okay, so you see how easy it is just because you have this cart contents. And again, there are other alternatives. I think there's a state library called Redux. Redux does this. Another one called Zoostand or Zostand can also achieve similar thing, but I just this works fine for me. That's why I'm using this. Cool. So we'll head back to the cart contents and create the rest function. So we need another function to reduce the quantity of products in the cart. Say function to reduce the can spell of products in the cart. So I'll call this function reduce cart quantity, and this is going to take an ID because we're going to use the ID to actually achieve that. So the first thing I want to do is to create a variable and say this should be update product, and we'll map over the products. So say products dot map, say products right here. All right, cool. So we'll see the same thing we did earlier on. So we say if the product ID, if the product ID is equals to the ID, then what do we want to do? We want to create another variable, and I'll call this updated quantity. And this should be the product dot quantity minus 1. So if the ID is equals to whatever ID we are adding right here, we just want to take one from the quantity types right here. And now we say if the updated quantity is now less than 1, we just want to basically remove the item from the cart. So I'll just create this right now. Just say remove from cart and pass in the ID. So we'll create this function in a bit. So under this, we just want to return the product, and the quantity should be this updated quantity. So right here, we also need to still return the product here. And lastly, we set the product, and pass in the updated product. So this function right here is to remove the product from cart. So just say function remove product from cart. Okay, so since we already have this, is fairly simple. So we just accept this one, and basically what we want to do is to filter out the ID that matches it. So we just simply say set product and pass in the previous product, and now we can see the previous product, the filter, and see if that product ID is equals to the ID. So filter that out. So I can save this, and what I need to do is to grab this reduce cart quantity. So you reduce cart quantity, and again also need to define the types right here. So say types, I'll say reduce cart quantity. My system is literally hanging. So quantity. All right, so this will be an ID. Okay, we'll just accept this. All right, cool. I think we'll also need this, but we'll just still pass it. If we don't need to, we can remove it later on. So I can just pass this right here, and also just copy this down and paste it right here. Okay, cool. So the next thing we want to do is to basically create a function that allows us to check if an item is already in the cart. And the reason why we're doing this is because, remember, in the design we want to toggle between this and this. So if we add the products to the cart, we want this to show, and we can only do that if there is already if there's an item on the cart. So to do that, we can just say function to check if a product is in the cart. So this time we can say is product, or is item in cart, and we'll just use the ID again, and this time we just return and say product dot sum, and I will just accept this. So what the sum method basically does is that it returns like a boolean like value. So it searches the product, and anyone that matches that ID, it immediately change the state to like a boolean. Alright, we also need to pass it right here. Says item cart. I'll just copy this, go to types, I'll paste this okay, cool. Why for this, it's checking, remember I said it's a boolean, so it returns like a boolean value that is kind of collapsible to a boolean value. Then lastly, we also need to add a function to reset the cards. This should be reset. So we say const reset cards, and this is just going to take the set product and just make this an empty array. And I can pass this right here and say reset cards right here. I can copy this down, and this just be empty or void, and video decoder void, and this should be reset cards. Cool. So now we can go to let's start from our product listing, and we can bring in that is item in cards. And what we'll do right now is to say if the item is not in the cards, so we say item is cards using this exclamation mark, we want to do something. So if it's not in the cards, we want this to show, else we want this to show right here. So just comment this one out. All right, so I'm thinking this is not going to work, so this is what is showing by default. We need to still pass in the ID right here, so you can see. So if I click on this now, this changes, and right now this is not working because we need to pass in the quantity right here. And this time, instead of us bringing it right here, we want to create a variable for the quantity so that it can be easier for us to just pass in that variable that we created here to this place. So what we just do is to come here and say cost quantity set quantity. It should be 0 by default, and yeah, it's still 0. So we want to be able to add products to increase the value right here. So what we're going to do is to just come here and create another function and say I'll call this increase quantity, and this is going to set the quantity to the previous one. So say previous quantity, and say prev quantity plus 1. Then we also add to cart, and we'll pass in the ID, the name, the price, and the image. Cool. So we just have to go to the add button. Where's the add button? And just say on click, passing the increase quantity right here. So let's see if it's going to work. So you see that quantity is being added right here. So also do the same for the reduce quantity. So say reduce quantity, and this should, I think I did spell this well, so this should be reduced. Okay. First of all, we'll check if the quantity is greater than 1 before we can reduce it. So if it's greater than 1, we will grab the reduce cart quantity function we created. Say reduce cart quantity and pass in the ID. I also want to set the quantity to this, but we just want to remove 1. Else, if the value is not greater than 1, we just want to just remove it from here entirely and just set the quantity to 0. So I'll just import this. Okay, no rejection. So I will say remove from cart. Cool. And I'll come right here. If this is it, say on click, it should be reduce quantity. Alright, cool. So we can add multiple products, and once you get to 0, something weird just happened. Okay, so this is not being updated right here. Okay, so what we need to do now is to watch for side effects right here as well. So when this gets to 0, this should also reset, and this shouldn't be acting weird. So what I will do, I'll add the use effect right here and say this should take 2 values, so it should be the product and the ID. And right here we just say I'll create a variable called cart product, and basically I will find the product that matches the ID, and if it matches it, so if it matches it, then I will set the quantity to the quantity of the cart product. Let's see, why am I getting an error? Property quantity type ID category. I'm guessing, oh, we're still using the products from here. No wonder we're having that. So I will bring in the products right here. So let me just do it right here. All right, cool. So if we check back and try to add again, add right here. See, this changes as well, so I can increase this as much as I want, and if it gets to 0. Alright, so this is still acting weird, so let's go through the code again to see what we are doing wrong. So we say cart products is fine. If a cart product, cool. Then for this, if the quantity is greater than 1, the code seems fine. I think the issue is from this function right here. So go back to our use context. Okay, this should be negative, the opposite. So if it's not equals to this, then remove it. So I think this should fix it. Cool. So we can add multiple products, and I can increase this one, and if I remove this, nothing should affect this one. Okay, cool. So we also need to add this active stuff right here. So we just go back to our product listing, and I will just do it right here. So pull this inside backticks and say if the item is in cards, then we want the border to be 2 pixels solid, then the color should be the primary red, else nothing. And of course we also need to pass in the ID right here. Okay, you can see that these are active. So if I change this gets rid of it, and it's working fine. Okay, cool. I think the next thing to do is to add the function to remove the cart from right here. So quickly go to cart item, and right here I will just come here and copy this, paste it right here, and import all this. And this should be removed from cart, and we'll say on click should be numbers function. I say remove from cart, and this should be the product.id. All right, and now okay, yeah, the product is being what is passed right here. So yes, oh cool. So I can easily remove it, and you can see that it gets updated here and just removes it easily. All right, cool. So what we want to do next is to store the product on local storage. Right now, if I refresh, see this gets product goes away. So to do that, we'll go back, and I will come to my root folder and just create a custom hook. I'll call this use local storage .ts, and I will define it and say export function. I'll call this use local storage, so that we can be able to use it on our cart contest. And this, I'll just open this right here, and now we'll create a state for it. I'll call this value, say set value, then this should be use state. And for now, okay, I think I'll just pass this in. I'll add a try catch block right here. I basically want to get the items, the stored items. So it says stored items, and we get it from Windows or local storage dot get item, and this will be the key. So the key is basically the value that has been passed to it. Later on our use context, I might give it a name. So right now we just call it a key, and since a key, we need to just pass it right here, and it's obviously be a string. Then I will return the stored items. and basically just pass it if the stored items is available. So say JSON, not this one. Say JSON dot pass the stored item, else we want to default it to the default value. So we just say default value. So right now the default value will be also be a string, and we'll also make changes to this in a bit. This catch block will just return the default value. So we can save, and right now we can now save the items to our local storage using use effect. So say use effect, and the dependency array will simply hold the key, watch the key and the value. I will say local storage dot set item, say key, say JSON dot stringify the value. So I think it gives you an object, then we have to now stringify it. So I will look something like so, something like this. All right, cool. So lastly, we just need to return return the value and the set value, so that we can use it right. Where is it again? Cart contest. Right here. So instead of this, what we'll do, we'll get rid of this one. We no longer need it because we already have used it right here. So say use local storage, get rid of this one, and we'll obviously get some errors. Like I said, this we have the key and the value. So the key, we'll call these desserts products. So this can be whatever you want it to be. Then the default value will be an empty array. So it's telling us that expected 0 types argument but got 1. Alright, so we'll come right here, and what we want to do right now is basically we want to add our own generic type so that we can use this use local storage can go with any type, so be it a string, a number, boolean. So to do that, we come here and just say t, and this should also be t as well. Then what we'll do is to update the setter function, and to do that we'll pass in the t again, and I'll say dispatch, I think this is it. Then I'll say the set state action, and also pass in the generic type right here. All right, so this error is gone, so let me hover over it and tell you what is that. So this dispatch function allows us to update the state of the use state, which means we can now pass it right here as well. So with this now we can add any types we want. So let's put it into test to see if it's working. So add a product, and if I refresh, the product is what being persisted, and I can also delete and refresh as well. All right, cool. So before we add the payment functionality, I just want us to add the checkout, so the other checkout page, which is this one. So I can come right here. You can still create inside your components, but we'll just do that right here, and I'll call it checkout .tsx 0 fce. And since this one is in another route, I can go to my app, and inside here and create another route. And the path should be checkout. Then the element should be this checkout right here. Alright, cool. So if I go to /checkout now, checkout success, you can see that this is here. But we remember I said if I go to the root layout, we have this home. So although we are at the checkout now, this home is still present at all times. Okay, cool. So let's start styling the checkout page. I'll go to checkout. I'll get rid of this and give this a class, say fixed. Set the insect to 0. So let me hover on it so you see what it does. So it's basically like a border that removes the inner width or the size totally. Then I'll give this a height of screen which is 100 VH, then background with black, add an opacity of 50. This should be enough. Then inside this we'll create another div and give this a class. Flex height should be 4. On medium screens, items should be centered. On medium screens again, justify should be center. Then inside it will create another div again. This we have a class of absolute. Bottom will be 0. This will be flex direction of column. The items will be start and justify will be end. You add a little border radius, large. So this is not little, this is large. You add the background of white and we'll add padding all around. Then we'll also make it relative on medium devices and up. Then on medium devices and up again, we'll set the height to fit content and set the width to fit content as well. Did you set it to full right here? So set the width to full right here. Then also add the padding left and right of 8. And medium screen is add the padding bottom of 8. So essentially we are just styling this right now, as you can see right here. Okay, cool. So inside of this we'll create another div. This should have a class mb6 and I want to show that check mark, so I will come here and just say import check mark from assets, believe, okay. I think you should be sources. Okay, order confirmed. So this should be check mark. I see order confirmed right here. Then we'll add an H4 and we'll give, okay, let me just add the text and say order confirmed. Give the class name and set this to text of 500. Font should be 700. Then the color should be rows of 900. Then also add a P tag and say what did the text say again? We hope you enjoy your food. So say we hope you enjoy your food. Cool. So let's check what we have so far. Not bad. So underneath this one, we'll want to display this order item. So this order item is different from the cart item. As you can see, we have an image here, so which means we'll create another component to hold all this. So say this should have class width 4, rounded, large, then we'll add the color of 100 and add padding all around it. And we'll say I'll just go back to my cart list and copy this, paste it right here. Alright, so you can see that I'm repeating this every time. So you can create a helper function to help you simplify this process instead of copying and pasting this all the time. So I can say products, the map over product. It should be inside a div. Give this a class border, the border bottom, then the color is going to be the rows 300. Add the padding top and bottom of 4. The first of the type should have a padding top of 0, and also need to set the key to the product.id. And this time we just create a component called order item, which will pass the product right here. So we don't have this right now. So I'll quickly create that and say order item.csx. I'll just import it right here, save, and let's see what we have so far. Okay, there's no product right now. We also need to show this order total, and I won't write it again. What I will just do is I'll go to my, was it my cart list? Hopefully it was here. Yep. So I think it's this one. So I'll copy this and come underneath this, and I'll just add the margin top of 6, and I can just copy this as well. Okay, cool. So let's check this out. All right, nice. So you can see I'm just using a normal just data.ts file. So you might actually want to use a database to make your product more, to make your project looks more real. So we need to show this start new order button, and we already have a button similar. So still go to my cart list, and this time is in the pay button. So I'll copy this one right here, and I'll go back to my checkout, make sure I close this, and underneath it I will just say this should be start order. All right, so I'll add a margin top of 4, so I have some space. All right, cool. So the more we add more products, the more this the more the product fits the content. So for this order item, I can come to the cart item, copy this. We'll basically use most of the codes right here. So I would say this should be order item props. So I'll import this. And I'll destructure it right there. So say product item. Sorry, this should be order item props. All right, cool. So what we do now is I'll go to the cart item. Basically, we need most of the codes right here. So I will copy all this and paste it here. Then I will copy this as well and paste this one right here and save. So far we don't have anything right now. So I think in order for us to see this, let's first of all go to the default page. Let's try to add the product to carts, and let's see if we're going to see it right here. So say checkout. You see delete icon is not defined, and we don't even need this, so we'll get rid of this one. So refresh again. Okay, so the product is being added right here. I don't like how this is being squashy, so I guess I will go back to the checkout. I'll say instead of fit, I said the width to be like 400 pixels. That'll work. Okay, this is more better. All right, cool. So let's see how the style looks right here. So this is fine. Then the price is right here, and this is no longer here. I will have an image here. Okay, so we'll come back to the order item. Here's what we do. Okay, let me get rid of the ones we don't need. So we don't need this one, right? Yep. So get rid of this. Okay, we do need it. Yeah, we do need, just that it's on different place. So get rid of it from here. Save it, then it should be outside. on its own. Then if I close this div, okay, I'll put this right here. And let's see. Okay, so this has been sorted out. And then for this, we'll bring in the image and say it should be product image, and this should be product and name. Then we need all this to be together, right? All this should be together. So this, okay, so this should be inside his own div. I think it's already inside his own div, or is it not? Okay, no, it's not. So everything here should be inside the div. Then I'll add the display flex right here. Items should be center. I think that's all, and a gap of like 2. Then we might as well reduce the size of this image to like 40. So if I go back for save, you see it's quite big. So if I save this now, see it's better, then I can just set the objects to cover, and we don't need this margin button again right here, or do we? Nope. Okay, so we can still add more breathing room if I go to a checkout and still adjust this to whatever size I want. Okay, then I can add a border radius to the image. Say border is large, and I'll increase this to 4. I think this should work fine. All right, before we go to the Stripe payment, this is not still rounded, and I think I used border instead of rounded. Sorry about that. So now it's now round. I shouldn't do. Let me try rounded 4. Oh, what does the design say again? Okay, just a little pew shape. Okay, so can I say a large? Yeah, there's some pew shape around the edges now. All right, cool. So let's add the Stripe payments. So first of all, we go to the payment button, and I will go to the cart list, and I will pass in the products right here. I'll come back to the payment button, and this time I will just destructure it direct. So I'll just say products, then products, and get the product item, which will be an array. All right, cool. So I will go back to my browser. I'll go to Stripe because I need 2 things. I need my Stripe publishable key and my Stripe secret key. So if you don't have an account, just go to stripe.com and set up your account. You will be brought to this dashboard when you are done. And what you have to just do is to go to developers. I'll go to API keys, and I will copy my publishable key and come to my root. Make sure I'm at the root file and create a .env. And while I'm there, let me just add this right here to our git ignore file so that it won't be public when I initialize a new GitHub repo. So I'll call this vit stripe publishable key. So make sure your spelling is right. If not, you're going to run into errors. And we also need one for the stripe secret key. And if you notice, you see I didn't use vit right here. I just use stripe secret key. So the reason is because with this vit, this is accessible publicly, which means anybody can see this, but you don't want to add it right here so that you don't risk exposing your secret key. And as you can see, it's even hidden right here. So what I will do is that I will cut this part and copy it, and basically, oh, can I copy it directly from here? Okay, no, I need to reveal it. So I will cut out this part and just paste it here and get back to you. All right, so I'm done setting my publishable key and my secret key. So what I'll do now is to go back right here and look for the npm package for Stripe with React. I believe it's this one. All right, so basically this package makes interacting with the Stripe API kind of easy. So I just copied it right here, and you can go through the docs and see a minimal example of how it works. So I will just come here and paste it right here. All right, the package has been installed. I can just come to my package.json file and you see it right here. Cool. So what we'll do now is to make sure you're above the pay button, and I will bring in my publishable key. So vit uses import and not process.env. So say vit underscore stripe publishable key, and I'll import it. So I'll say import .meta.env. All right, cool. So now what I want to do is to create a I'll just call this stripe promise. Say this should be load stripe, and this load stripe is coming from the stripe package. So I'll just import it here. I'll say load stripe from so say at stripe stripe -js, and there should not be any equal to right here. So now we'll say load stripe, and we'll just pass in the vit stripe publishable key. Cool. So now we need to await this stripe promise, but before then, what I will just do is that we need a state. I believe I should just go back to the home page. Don't need this anymore. So we need to add a loading state so that we'll have a good user experience instead of just clicking on this and still showing confirm order while the order is being processed. So I will just come here and say this should be let's just do is processing. You can still use this loading, anyone works fine. Set is processing. It should be set is processing, and the default value will be false. And now we want to now check right here if it's processing. So you can just come here and say if it's processing, which means if we clicked on this button, we want to show a spinner. So I will just create a spinner component right here. Else, if it's not processing, we just copy this confirm order and paste it right here. So now I will create this spinner component. Say spinner tsx arrow and basically I will just get rid of this. Well, I guess I should just leave it. Then I'll say I'll give this a class flex items center, then justify should be center as well. Then I'll have another div right here. I won't add anything inside of it. And I'll give this a size of 25 pixels. The rounded should be full to make it a complete circle. Add a border with a width of 4, then add a border top. Keep writing this as if I'm writing vanilla CSS. So border T, then this should be 4. So border top of 4. Then we'll give this a border of white, and the border top black. Alright, cool. So let's just bring this in, and let me just show you how it works, because right now you won't be able to see it. So I'll just do it. Let me do it here. So okay, so it's coming in, but it's not animating. So I will just go right here, say animate should be spin. So if I go back now, this should be animating. Nice. But we only want this to show when we click on confirm order. So I can now get rid of it from here. Cool. So what we'll do now is we want to undo the checkout. So I'll create a new function and say const undo checkout, and this should be an async because it's going to take some time to do, and I will pass in the line items. So basically this what I want to write right here is following the structure of the Stripes API. So we'll grab the products and map over each one. So say product and say so right here we'll grab the price data, so price underscore data, and inside of it we'll pass in the currency. So this will be USD, and the product data will be another object which we have other values or key value pairs. So the name will be the product name, and the images will be an array of product image. Remember I said earlier on in the video that, let me add this comma here, if your image is not let me go to my data file. So if your image is not in a public URL, you would have an issue right here. And you can still add metadata in case if you want to add other information as well, but we'll leave this as it is. Then underneath it, I'll pass in the amount, so it's unit underscore amount. I'll say, if I can spell amount right, I'll say product dot price times 100 cent. All right, cool. And lastly, we'll just pass the quantity. So say product dot quantity. All right, cool. So this is the structure and how it should be. Now I want to use these line items right here. So I'll come beneath this and add a try and catch block. It should take an error. So inside this catch block, we set is processing to true so that the spinner should show when we hit on the confirm button. Then we will create a stripe, a variable to hold this stripe promise. So we basically say await the stripe promise, and sometimes to know if you have this correctly set up, you can just add a check to say if that stripe publishable key is not there, then you can just throw new error and just say stripe is null. All right, so what we have to now do is to send these line items to our backend. So I'll say const response and await fetch. So I will specify the path. So I will say API slash call this create checkout session, send a curly bracket here. So this endpoint is what we'll be creating very soon using the netlify serverless functions. Okay, so inside of it we'll specify the method. So this will be post, and headers will be, I always forget this. Okay, so content type application JSON, and now we want to just stringify the line items. So what we want to do is we want to store this response in a variable. So I will say this should be in a session, and we just say await response .json, and we can just console or log out the session as well. All right, cool. So now this section is going to have an ID, and that ID will be what we'll use to redirect to our Stripe checkout. So underneath this, I'll just create another variable and call this result, and just say await say Stripe dot redirect checkout, and we just pass in the session ID. I will pass in the ID we will get from our response. And now what we just have to do is to check, we say if there's an error, then we want to just console log the error. So error, is there a message append to it? Okay, so we just console log the message. All right, cool. So for the error state right here, what we just do is to console log the error dots. Is there a message here? Well, type of unknown. Okay, so TypeScript, we just have to check if this error is an instance of error. So copy this right here, and we'll also disable this when we are done. So I can say finally and set its processing to false. So if this fails, the spinner will stop. If it succeeds, it will stop as well. So that is the essence of using this finally right there. All right, cool. So we need to just pass this handle checkout right here and just say on click, say handle checkout. All right. So right now, guess I will just have to leave this opened, and this, okay, is looking nice. So I will get rid of this and maybe bring this down. Okay, so that we just use here directly. All right, so we want to create this endpoint, and to do that we'll come right here and just create a new folder called functions, and we just create this create checkout, and this will create a checkout session.ts, and I can go back and just switch this to session. Right now this won't really do anything, so in order for this to work we need to create a netlify .xaml file, and I'll quickly copy and paste some code and just run through it. So paste it right here and save, and I'll add this as to my workspace. All right, cool. So basically we're just adding a configuration to merge our ports, which is port 3000, to whatever port the netlify serverless uses. I think is around is a port of 66 something, I can't get, but it takes this port and this one and merges them into a port called 888, which we'll use. So before we test that out, I think we should just add some data right here. So first of all, let's just let me just go and just search for netlify serverless function. I think it's this one. Yeah, so explore to netlify functions playground. Okay, so we're using TypeScript, so what we have to do is to add these identify functions, and I will do that right here. It has been installed, and I also want to see install stripe and .env as well. It should be .env. So this stripe is what we'll be using for our backend, and this .env allows us to use the process.env on our project. All right, both packages has been installed. I can just CLS, and as usual I can check to see that they have been added right here. So what we'll do right now is to write the logic for the function. So the first thing to do is that we import stripe from the stripe package, and make sure it's not this one, make sure it's from the stripe itself. And I'll also import a config from netlify functions, which will enable us to have access to this. Alright, cool. So what I'll do is to create a new instance of the stripes. So say new stripe, and I'll say process tnv dot should be stripe secret underscore key. Okay, so what are we getting? Okay, so we know that the value is defined with an exclamation mark right here. So we want to get the data that has been sent right here, and we netlify, you just have to say export default, then this should be an async function. I'm passing the request, and this request also have this as well. So with this now we can have type safety for when we need it. So we'll get this body, and we'll say await and say request dot text. So with netlify functions, you can let me know if there's another way to do it, but you have to store the body as text first before you then get the before you then get this line item. So now that we have this, I can come here and say line items, this should be JSON dot pass, and we'll just pass the body right here, just grab the line items. So now the try and catch block. For now, just leave this as it is. And right here, I want to create a section. So say call section and await. And by the way, if you don't know what this autocomplete is from a package I saw recently called a tool rather I saw recently called Codium. So you can just check them out. So we say stripe checkout, then we say sessions and create a new section, and this should previously be an object. Inside an object, I want to pass in something, so we say the payment method type, this one right here. You can specify what you want, but I'll just put in the card. I'll say that we'll have type safety as well. Then the line items will be line items right here. Then the mode will be payments. You can add different mode if you want to. Then the sources URL, which means once the payment has been successful, so we want to be directed to port 888. I would say this should be the checkout. So like I said, this is what netlify gives us when we want to start the netlify server. So the same thing, if it's not successful, just go back to the home page right here. So outside of this, we'll return a new response we'll send to our front end, and this would be JSON stringify, and now we want to just pass in the ID. I'll call this session.id. Then outside there, I'll just set the status to 200 and the headers should be content type. Obviously, this should be in a string. So say content type, and this should be application JSON. So I think this should be double quotes as well. Alright, cool. So what if there's an error? So basically I will copy this one right here and I'll return a new response, but this time this will be error. I will say internal server error, and this should be 500. So basically this error is what we passed, we are using right here. Alright, cool. So now what we want to do is to specify the path. So outside of this, I'll just export the config and say this should point to a path, and that path should be /API/*. So usually the old way, and it's not usually an old way, you can still do it right here. So you can specify the path you want right here and just copy all this and do it here. But with this, I think it makes more sense, and you can add multiple paths, not just this. So we're basically saying /API/any other endpoint we want to add will be acceptable. You can still make it specific by doing this as well. It's still going to work fine, but we just leave it at this asterisk right here. Alright, cool. So I believe that's all. What we have to do now is to come right here and stop our server and run netlify dev. And before I run this command, make sure you have netlify CLI system, and I think it's npm install netlify -g, yeah, something like this. You can just Google and confirm, but I already have it installed globally on my system, so I can just say netlify dev. So it grabs the two ports and merge them into a single port so that they can be able to communicate with each other effectively. So if I scroll back up, you see that it's injected our publishable key and our stripe key to our netlify env file. One cool thing about using this is that I think I will create another video about this, is that once you have this set up and you deploy your websites, you don't necessarily need to have this on your project again. Anytime you run netlify dev, it's just going to pull all these from your env file in your netlify dashboard. And I also think you need to link it first, which you can do by just saying netlify link. But anyways, you can see this is our port, and this is the port we are be given. So I can go back right here, and this is the port, so we don't need this anymore. I can come here now, and the moment of truth, let's test it out to see if it's working. I'll add products to cart, so let's do this one, increase this, and let's get some red velvet cake as well. I need 3 of that. Okay, now so we have this. So I click on confirm order. Hopefully, okay, yeah, it doesn't work on first tries. So let's see what went wrong. So let me go to my network tab. I didn't have any errors right there. So where is that coming from? Okay, unexpected end of JSON input. Okay, so maybe we got something wrong. Okay, so let's run through it. We created a Stripe instance. I don't know if we have this Stripe key. So what I will do, so let me console the log out this if it's working. So I will just grab this right here. I will make sure it's being available. So I might cut out this part so you don't see my key on my terminal. So try this again. All right, so our key is undefined, which means it's not been available. So I will try check my key again and get back to you shortly. I made a typographical error by adding an E right here. So I guess it should work now. So if I come right here and click on confirm order, okay, we still get an error, but this time I will check if the key is showing. Okay, it's still undefined, and what I will do right now is I'll stop the server and start it again. So I'll say netlify dev. So in case if you run into this issue and you make sure this is correct with what you have on your env file, just restart your server again and it should work fine. All right, so let's open the port again. Just refresh this one. Get rid of this one. Let me close this as well. All right, so let's confirm the order again. You can see we have the ID right here, which means it's successfully ran. All right, we have been directed to our Stripe payment. How cool is that? Our Stripe checkout rather. So I'll close this out and I can now pay. So let's pay. So payment is done, and now you can see the two products we just bought. So if I click on start order now, okay, guess we've not set that up. So first of all, I will get rid of this and I'll go to the checkout page. I believe it's this one here. So I'll just create a function right here that says undo, what should I call this? Undo, yes, a new order. And we want to reset the card, so I'll bring that in from here. So we want to reset the cards, and we also want to go back to our home page. So say Windows allocation, href, and set this to the base path. Now we just have to add an on click and say handle new order. I'll save. If I go back now, click on start order, see that this is 0, then our cart has been empty again. So let's check for the responsiveness, see how it looks. All right, cool. So let me try adding some product to my cart. Add another one. Reduce this to 50 so I can see everything. All right. And let me also go to the checkout page. There's a checkout. Okay, not bad. I think it's similar to what we had, to what we have here in the design right here. All right, cool. So get rid of this one, open this back, close this, and we'll get rid of all these. All right, guys, so we've come to the end of the video. It was a fun and long one, and please do it to leave a like if you found the video helpful, and also share it as well. And I would love to hear your questions in the comments. Till next time, guys.